Hello everyone, this is Moses from Zaatar Gardens, and this is episode 200 of Gardening Without Edits. I'm going to show you something here really quick. It's the day after Christmas, and I need to hurry it up. I need to hurry up the garden before it gets a little too cold. Let me flip the camera around. Let me show you what I'm doing now. You can see that lots of apples on both trees that's left over from us still picking. We have to pick more. I'm going to be hacking my garden down heavily, so you can see how I normally prune to probably right around here, my arm's reach. Now I'm going under my head, like at my chin. I'm gonna even prune even harder. I'm gonna cut, this is the donut peach right here. I'm gonna cut this whole limb here, all of it. One reason is because of this. This happens a lot. This is from sunburn right here. So it makes a lot of sense that the sunburn is there because I keep the center opened. If I remember, I'll put a video online of how I prune an open center, but that's one of the problems of pruning with an open center. You want to keep some leaves so you don't get damaged like that. But I'm going to prune this heavily. Like, I might not get any donut peaches next year because this is, if I prune this off, these, which I probably will be, all of them, like meaning pruning down here, I'm not going to get any flowers next year. But I think this tree needs it. It needs it, I think. Same with the apples. I'm gonna be pruning them probably right here. Just like that, instead of years ago, or excuse me, last winter was right over here. I'm probably gonna prune here. I want shorter trees. I don't want this anymore. I'm gonna use a lot less nitrogen in my fertilizer. Basically, I'm not gonna use anything more than fish emulsion, which is 5 on the nitrogen. I pruned the sapote, which I hate that I had to do. Look how much on the floor, all flowers and fruit. I had to prune it away from the pathway, and I had to prune the base of it. The base had a whole bunch of things growing underneath it. I left that there to protect it because I really don't want this tree to suffer, because the Vernon died 3 years ago. This is Subel, and it's doing really well. You can see that I'm pulling, I have a stake in the ground and I'm pulling the tree this way. So, because it started wanting to lean this way. I originally planted it in line with this donut peach. It was planted right over here. But due to, you know, the roots growing and more water would settle here, the tree moved about a foot towards the pathway, and that's why now I have to really prune it back heavily. But it's okay. What are you gonna do? So apples did well this year, finally. That was a lot of things to do with that. One of it was iodine. I don't think it's a coincidence. This is the Fuji. You can see the color. And obviously this is the Granny Smith. But there's other varieties on here as well that they didn't produce. Only the base fruit produced. I'm not too sure what that is, to be honest. And I think that's obviously they're not good. I wonder if that's I think they call it a King David. Something like that. I probably, then I have more apple trees. There's Lulu in the side. Those aren't defoliated because they're next to the tree, next to the house, so they're warmer. Kumquat's full of fruit. You can see that. We got to prick all that off. The grapefruit and the blood oranges are full. Grapefruit's not done yet. That's usually about the second week of January. First to second week of January in my area. Look how heavy I pruned my Cadota fig. That's it. Look how hard I prune. I've never pruned a fig tree this hard before. But I'm also going to put kaolin clay on these wounds here, these cuts, and they'll seal up just like this. That's kaolin clay in here, and it'll seal up just like that, just like this. So these were flush cuts right here. This was a flush cut, and it sealed up. If I remember, I'll link up a video right now. Like this is not a flush cut, and this is going to have like 10 or 12 growth spurts coming out of it, and it's going to have a hole in there and have a cavity. Okay, this is a flush cut. You can see how I did a bad job right here on the end, but how close it is to the trunk. This is going to seal up just like this, and let's see if I can have a good seal. Like these were seals before. Probably just that one and some over here. See, all these are seals that cleaned up nice. And then there's still one trying to seal down here. So yeah, just, I don't, I learned all my life by doing, not reading a book and seeing what experts say and et cetera, et cetera. Even though some things they say are most likely true, and some things are just, they just do one experiment for a few years and, oh, that's probably good enough. But you gotta just, you have to live in your garden, in my opinion. You can't live in your garden through a lab or through a few trees or even 100 trees. You have to be with them daily. You have to learn, you have to see. But you know, they have their place as well. And I get a lot of hate comments, especially from the I don't know how you say it, the intellects or whatever. Hate comments, especially when I talk about that kind of stuff. But anyways, what is this, video 1,500? You know, I'll do, after another 1,500 videos, maybe I'll stop talking about that. Yeah, but yet they asked me to come to the garden, my garden, to take a tour. If they want to take a tour in my garden, I thought they were the experts, not me. Why you want to come to see me? My daughter's tree died, finally. I mean, I'm not saying finally as I'm happy, it's just I knew it was gonna happen. When my son was born, I planted a kumquat, and that's one of his favorite fruits. You can see how tall it's growing back there. That's gonna get chopped off, I don't want that. And I had a early Alberta peach. And in my experience, it was the hardest peach variety I've ever grown. I've grown 7, I believe. 7 peach varieties, and early Alberta or Alberta is the hardest. And I had a subscriber ask me on Instagram, a DM saying, I have a problem with my tree, a peach tree, this, that, the other. And I said, just happenstance, is it Alberta? He goes, yeah, it's in Alberta. So I don't know. I don't think that the variety is that healthy of a variety. Got a lot of lemons. I have to cut off the trees. Or cut off the tree, excuse me. I have my Satsuma tangerine, or Satsuma mandarin. Yeah, mandarin, I think, yes. A lot of them. We already ate a whole bunch. Mango's looking okay, even though we're getting into the high 30s, low 40s. I gotta start covering it up. When it starts getting cold, you start seeing the black spots. Now, I worry if that's anthracnose, but I think it's just damage. But you can see some of the leaves, young leaves, are still nice and supple. They haven't fallen off, so it's doing pretty well. When I planted this tree, it was probably as thick as this little branch here, okay? And now, it's that thick. So it's doing well. We'll see how it goes. That's the major experiment of mine, is that mango. Cherimoya is always doing it. Whatever it does, and it's always the best in the garden. It doesn't stop growing, but I hacked it back really hard. It was heavy winds, which I did a video on. I'll show the video if I can remember. And how many videos I can show. The moringas, those are the 2 I chose. They're almost defoliated. So we'll see. We'll see how that goes. Avocado's going good. There's a whole other bunch of trees, but they're asleep. Olives are doing very well this year. I gave half of them to the birds. Let them enjoy it in the winter. If an area doesn't have birds, the area is dead. If you go somewhere, a forest or a lake or whatever, and you don't see any birds around, that area is dead. So make sure you share your bounty with the birds, because the birds are helping you too. They're tilling your ground a little bit for insects. Their poop is fertilizer. Unfortunately, it has weed seeds in it too. But that's just nature. And they eat a lot of bugs that are in the tree. I've seen some that just straight up ate a grasshopper right inside of a tree, fought it and got it before the grasshopper flew away. You saw that bird fly out of the kumquat. They're not gonna eat the kumquat. They're looking for insects. Oh, prune the winter savory. I'm gonna move that in the late spring. Our last frost date average is February 15th. So I'm gonna prune that. Not prune, excuse me, I already pruned it. I'm gonna move it the last 2 weeks of February. And let me talk about that for a second. I had a lot of videos. Look at this little guy. I had a lot of videos that I would proclaim, which I still believe in, it still works, where you mix your berries, which is the aronia berry over there, aka a chokeberry, winter savory, Zaatar plant, summer savory, chives. I had a hyssop here, it died, too much water. That's another Zaatar plant. It's called conehead thyme. A lot of weeds on it, that's why you can't see it. I'm gonna show you up close. I hope it's not dead. It looks like this in the winter sometimes though. I used to advocate a lot and cilantro would always go here. And my front of my house, the sides of my house, I can show you more. There's more Timbra spicata. There's Oregonum sericum under the kumquat. There's caraway creeping thyme underneath the genetic tree, the green sour Persian plum. I advocate for that because they always grow better. It's always like symbiotic relationship. A lot of insects don't want to crawl up the tree because they don't want to go through mint. Let's say I would never plant mint, but let's say you plant mint. A lot of insects don't like it. Some do, and some don't. They didn't like hyssop. That's dead. So they stay away from the tree. But the problem is, you have to walk around the herbs. You have to look at this. How big that was. It was this big. You have to walk around it. The worst thing is fruit falls inside of the herb bush. You don't know, and it's like there's gnats everywhere. There's worms, mold, mildew, all this disgusting stuff because you didn't know. So, and it's in the way. And I like this. Instead of this, I like this where it's nice and clean and open. I gotta start weeding though. This is a Barbados cherry right here. But yeah, let me show you the Lowquat while I'm out here. I guess I could just make this into a tour. Here's the Lowquat. Doing really well. I'm gonna hack, like I said, that branch right here, and I'm gonna prune even harder. Or maybe not, I don't know, I feel bad. Like, what's the point of having a tree if it doesn't flower 1 year? But there's the flowers of a Lowquat if you've never seen them. Delicious. And do your own research, but the leaves are medicinal in tea and stuff like that. But do your own research. I have to say those things or I get in trouble with YouTube. See the color? This is a champagne variety, white flesh. It's very good, very good. Is it the best? In all honesty, it tastes like champagne as well. And I'm gonna say right now, it feels like it has that carbonation too. Okay, so I normally check to see if any fall off, and none of them are falling off after pollination right here. So those might be pollinated and good to go. So, but I don't want this tree to get any bigger than this because these could get pretty massive. But how do I prune it so, it doesn't get really bad? And I gotta stop doing this, babying it like this right here. So if I have to do that, I should just prune this whole branch off, in my opinion. All right, I think that's enough, everybody. I gotta start doing more of these videos. It's a lot harder with 2 kids, household, and a dog that always watches for something. I have no idea what she's looking at. Lulu. Happy gardening, everybody. Bye.